Extra.
Where do you want to add it on?
That's just to write up in the paper, so you get a motion letter. Where should we put it?
Oh, that's, you can always know who that's from.
B, yeah. Okay.
Oh, again.
Oh, I better get my thing out of the way here.
Good to know, good to know in advance.
Got live feed?
Remind us,
Good point, I will make that.
yeah.
Teeth. Gee, there's hardly any gespaast here.
1, 2,
Brian, you, and Kathy, Robert. That's all. How come?
holy smokes.
What
Kan
happened to the list?
Kan heel lag gebeuren anders.
Sure, lag gebeurd nog zo.
Tja.
Check your list, incoming people.
Well, Wyget's not here. She was invited.
Wyget?
She's busy, still busy?
Wyget is Wyget.
Hmm? Oh,
Who's Wyget?
Sheila Joseph.
I thought we said she was higher than her name. It is. Remember when they had the Mostalix art?
Yeah.
I'll give the communication team 1 minute heads up.
Any to involve administration of the buildings because no, that's wellness center, that's what this is.
Good, we've got the minutes to those 3 days.
Or if I think of it, I'll think it.
You see Anna,
Oh, thank you, Kathy. Thanks.
Yeah, I got a meeting tomorrow, maybe I can get it.
did you want a coffee also, or?
No, thanks. It's okay.
What do you call it when it's got orange or raisins in it? It's a different kind of an eye.
This is what I understood as an iambus pontus. Panic bread.
Look at them
Or the baking powder one.
Yeah.
It could be le razamana. Yeah, just put it in a pan. Not the usual baking one. For the minutes in here. 3 days.
When I work.
It's gonna be separate. This is for
Hey,
the last
she keeps
time.
saying,
Are you still gonna give it to me?
I'm still,
when I told her yesterday,
Hoy sem giget. Sige dem hanak. Wilson. Toy sem nesem mal baksem. Glansel ska. Och dem snama. Nej, man gets glimna ha. Kom ha lån.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, Lord, we just thank you for the opportunity for the Samogas to sit around and talk about our Lakip and the Gitxsan nation as a whole. We just pray that you will guide us throughout this meeting and that it will be a productive meeting for us all. And also, Lord, be mindful of the shut-ins in the hospital that can't get out and the loss of loved ones recently. We just lift your names up to them that you will look after their families. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Toy sem glimna ha. We have the agenda in front of us. Opening prayer. Number 2, administration. Approve November 21st, 2019 agenda. Approve September 24th, 2019 Gigeenix governance meeting minutes. Business arising. Number 3, 2 appointments to the governance fundraising committee. Gitxsan Andadala, Roy Wilson, and Catherine Blackstock. Review first meeting November 18th, 2019. Number 4, crisis management update. Robert Campbell, Art Wilson, and Brian Williams. B, CMT media training report. Number 5, jurisdiction standing committee update provided by Bill Blackwater Jr., Larry Skulls, and Brian Williams. Number 6, other ethics committee discussion, Gordon. Number 6B, you don't have on the agenda, but I want to put on Dorothy Letai to add on to the Gitxsan governance table.
and Norman Moore.
And Norman Moore. Number 7, next government session date to be decided later. And closing prayer. Any other additions to the agenda? Oh yeah.
Just don't know, but is there gonna be any further updates in what we approved about 6-7 months ago on this funding from the forestry, 1.3 million? Any updates on it?
We don't have an update, but we're working on it.
So we never got nothing yet?
No.
Certainly or no? Okay.
So can we have a mover to approve the agenda as presented? Moved by Kyle. Is there a seconder? Seconder by Yelosip. Sorry.
Moved. Moved.
Catherine. Any objections to the agenda? Question's been called. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Item B, approve September 24th, 2019 Gigeenix governance meeting minutes. So do a quick read on your own while I eat my bread. Any corrections, errors on the minutes? Noted, John?
Correction on last motion, and the back page is moved by Robert who? That Robert Campbell?
Campbell.
Campbell?
I was away too and it's not noted.
You were away?
September.
Oh, September?
Yeah,
Oh, I was here, must have been here.
yeah, you were here.
Any other corrections? So we add Campbell to the motion, the second motion on page 2. Yeah. Do we have a mover to accept the minutes as presented with correction moved by
We gotta add Sadie to the attendees.
to add Sadie Harris as attending the meeting? Moved by Claim Loha to accept with the changes. Your seconder to the motion? Seconded by Larry Lubinosik. Question's been called. All those in favor of the minutes with the changes? Unanimous. Thank you. Any business arising from the minutes? Any business arising from the minutes? No business arising. Thank you. We move on to number 3. 2 appointments by the Governance Fundraising Committee, Gitxsan Andadala. Report from Roy Wilson and Catherine Blackstock. Point.
Yes, Chair. I'm not certain if this group approved the terms of reference for the fundraising.
Okay.
That would have been on that 3-day thing, and we had made some changes to it, especially around the travel part.
Okay.
But I don't know if it was a really.
So it's noted that it's a living document. It is improved in principle.
Thank you.
Catherine? Roy?
Okay, so at the 3-day meeting, Roy and I were appointed as the Gigeenix representatives to sit on the committee supporting torrefied pellet plant, or the fundraising committee. And on Monday, we met with the Gitxsan reps, Anita Davis and Crystal Talmy. And Brian Williams was there as the chair. Vernon Milton was absent. He had a
Smith.
Oh, Vernon Smith was absent. He was at another meeting. So basically, we spent quite a bit of time with Rick Connors explaining about the plant, and boils down to like it's a $52.3 million project, and he has he's kind of secured some funds, and this is an opportunity for the Gitxsan to be a shareholder in the project. And it would be in a limited partnership, which means that we don't, as it was explained at the last meeting, we won't have a decision to be made there. And the recommendation was that any funds the profits that come out of this pellet plant would flow through to a trust. And there is a Lipget trust that is already formed, and it was suggested that we have a meeting with them to talk about, to refresh our memory about what that trust is about. So our task is, we have until March 31st to try and drum up $6 to $7 million. And it's, you know, it's a short timeline, but some of the office crew of the Gitxsan Development Corp have reached out to government agencies. So basically, that's who we're looking at. We're not looking at private funders at this time. I mean, it might be something we could look at, but what we are being tasked to is to meet with government, arms of government, to try and secure this funding. And I know for sure one of them I'm a bit concerned with, because we're not applying for funds as a band. We're applying for funds as a Gitxsan. So one of them is Community Opportunities Readiness Programs, and the maximum amount that we can get there is $3 million. And so we're going to be working on having a meeting with the people there, and also.
Excuse me, what is that community what?
Community Opportunity Readiness Program, and it's under Indigenous and Northern Affairs Canada. And I don't even think there's been a call yet for it, so we're still gathering information that we would have to submit, so that we're ready to apply for it when that turns around. And the second area is the BC First Nation Gaming Revenue Sharing Limited Partnership. Again, this is looking at Indian bands in particular, but they also identify self-governing First Nations. And, you know, we've talked about that under UNDRIP, about the people who we have jurisdiction and authority over our lafayette. And this group is set up to govern ourselves as Gitxsan. So it might take a bit of convincing, but that is provincial gaming revenues that we're gonna be going after. So I think those are the only two areas that, oh, and then, you know, of course, the last avenue that we will probably tap into is the Ministry of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation to support our economic opportunities that we're exploring right now. So we're going to start that conversation with those three entities. And we're going to be having a meeting next Tuesday to follow up and make a plan. Like last week, or Monday, was just to kind of inform us about the project and move forward. Figure out where we're going to tap into. So was there anything else to add there, Roy?
The only thing that reached out was Commerce said they got another $1 million on this last report. We mentioned there's $1 million that they got towards the project. That's the only thing.
Yeah. So, do you have any questions? And we decided that the committee supporting torrefied pellet plant sounded way too long and mouthful. So we were just brainstorming, and, you know, if you have better ideas about what to call it, we just thought Andadala Gitxsan was kind of a fun, it's our purse. We're trying to fill our purse, or it's about money. We're trying to get money into our purse. But it's just out there for consideration, I guess. We like it better than committee supporting torrefied pellet plant. Oh, and so at that committee also, they nominated me to be the chair of the committee, and Anita Davis will be the acting chair of the committee. And one amendment that we did do to the terms of reference was that the quorum for the chiefs would be in person or by telephone, and that the costs were covered by the Gitxsan Governance Nation Rebuilding. So I think that is about all I have.
So before we go into questions, I was informed that the terms of reference have not been approved. It's in your packets under B1. So this is a living document, and the committee has already looked at making suggested changes. So at this point, I entertain a motion to approve the terms of reference as a living document.
Do we have questions on this?
Yeah, as soon as we approve it.
Is that with the changes?
Are there changes?
As a living document. So there will be changes.
Document, what do you mean?
You can change, it evolves as you go along.
Well, because I have concern about the amount,
Okay,
and that is what I was gonna ask Kathy.
okay, go ahead.
Okay, okay, I was looking through this, and it said, that Gitxsan are gonna have, a majority, stakeholder in this. That's what you guys said, right? Is that one of the terms of reference?
No, it's not in this terms of reference, like, it would be in the limited partnership. It would state that. Our task for this committee is strictly to try and find that $4 to $6 million.
Okay, the reason why I have a concern about the $4 to $6 billion is because, I don't think you should state a price, just maybe you could put on there that we're trying to get enough so that the Gitxsan could have, a majority, stakehold in this project, like a 51%.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is that okay? Does that sound okay? Like, if you stake 4 to 6 million, and you get 3 million from somebody, that's half.
Yeah.
So, but you could get more, if you could get more, like if you get 20, 30.
We could be a bigger partner, you know.
Yeah, and, the Gitxsan will own 51%,
Yeah.
because there's concerns about who will have a say, because this project is on Gitxsan territory. I'm pretty sure they're gonna be using Gitxsan wood.
Not necessarily. You were here though for Rick's presentation.
Yes, I was.
So you remember on the top, there's the
General partner.
general partners. The
Yeah.
general partners are the ones who are gonna wear all the liabilities. So if anything doesn't go right with the project, we won't have to worry because we're down here as limited partners. So we're gonna be trying to get some money. And I guess there's some individual wills that have expressed an interest that they might want to invest into this, and other private donors. But for our portion of the money, we want to, be a bigger partner in it, so that
Yeah.
most of the profits will come down and feed into our trust. But the ones who are sitting there in the general partners are the ones who are gonna be,
Well, I
they're
thought,
gonna be the ones running the.
yeah, I thought general partners were the ones that run,
Yeah,
and the owners are the limited, partners. They're the ones that, can be sued if something happens, like,
the general partners, yes.
no, limited partners.
No, we
They can be
can't,
sued.
we can't be. This
Yes,
will
you can.
protect us.
Huh?
This will protect us.
No, not always, because there's a principle called the piercing of the corporate veil. They're using that now, the piercing of the corporate veil. They're using that now to get to owners who own, even though it says they have limited liability. That's what it means, they have limited liability. It's not the general partners who are gonna be getting sued, it's gonna be the owners. That's what limited liability means. So, if the courts want, they could pierce the corporate veil and get to the owners. That's what limited partner, liability means.
Well, I think the fine tuning of the actual limited partnership will come, and all I can do is take a note, I guess, that
Yeah.
that's.
Yeah, well,
Burke-
you could
Burke-
look that up, and it's really good to know.
So limited liability, is that what you said?
Yeah, limited liability.
And piercing of the corporate.
Yeah,
Yeah, so this is stuff that would go back to the lawyer who's working on it, Burke-Dos Remedios or something like that.
Something like that, yes.
And
Yeah,
they're
I
the
picked
ones
that up
working
too.
on the model.
yeah.
And my understanding was that it was to protect the limited partners down below.
It is.
And, I mean, it is complicated because Gitxsan Development Corporation is going to be one of the general partners. And the chiefs are part of that also.
But,
Well, he said that if the chiefs wanna come in, they come in as a person, not as a chief. Remember what he said?
yeah, they want general partners, they want people with money and expertise to manage this big project, $1 million project. I'm not a lawyer, and our task is to just look for this funding that, you know, we've, I think, approved that we do want to go forward with this project.
Yeah.
It's a good idea, and it's gonna generate some revenue, it's gonna be local, and
So
it's for the nation.
when you're dealing with terms of reference and you go to those prospective people to get the money from, you're gonna have to share those terms of reference with them, wouldn't you?
I'm not sure.
Yes, you do, because this is the amount we have to raise, or it's an unlimited amount. So, because when we're dealing with this, with the government at CMT, the terms of reference is right there, and that's what guides us. That's what terms of reference means. It guides everybody and shows what the whole thing is about, and what your goal is.
Anyway, I'll write down that question to find out if we have to bring our terms of reference to the potential funders.
You do have to bring it, because you're asking them, and they're gonna ask you, what are your terms of reference, and you show it to them.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works with government though, but,
The government,
yeah.
well, especially government, they're gonna ask for this.
Okay, well, I guess that's a question.
Yes,
For
it's,
somebody else.
I'm also recording those very good questions, and we'll definitely find the answers to make sure that we're not liable. I think that's where you're coming from.
Mhm.
And that our terms of reference reflect what we actually want, not a limited, could be higher is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Rather than having 4 to 6, he's
Yeah,
wanting to
just
see.
leave it open, raising money for this project.
Yeah, that point that was made earlier, that was a living document, is a good thing, because we're gonna be working on the terms of reference that will meet those requirements that
Yeah.
you're raising,
Yeah,
and that's good.
yeah.
And the legal people will be involved in all of that, so that it's done properly.
White people.
Who's the legal
I
team
can,
working on it?
This is
Women
all,
know
this
sick.
is all new to us. If you look at that flow chart that were presented at the last meeting, it's equity ownership, it says on there. 5 to 6 million. Equity ownership. For me, I need to have somebody define what equity ownership is. It's from the hereditary chiefs, 5 to 6 million. So this is all new to probably all of us, so,
yes.
I think it's just a matter of defining that flow chart that was presented to us at the meeting with Rick.
Yeah, he was actually supposed to forward that PowerPoint to us,
Yeah.
and that had the flow chart on it.
I took a picture.
I know what it means, equity. I know what it means. It means just what I just said. If you have 51%, like, let's say the thing project cost,
See, the thing is, 5, 6 million is not
no,
51%.
no, that's why I said it has to be changed, because we can't just say, it just, quote about it with a small amount.
But if you get 51%, you also take the risks.
Yes,
They said at our last meeting that the ownership, when the company that basically put this together, they're gonna take the risk.
Yeah.
The hereditary chiefs are not taking a risk, all they're doing is contributing
No,
to the project.
no, limited liability, if you're part of the limited liability, you're part of the company. So if you're contributing 5 to 6 million, that's your equity. That's what your equity is. That's what equity means. It's your contribution to.
What we own in
So
that.
that's why I said at the last meeting that I was in, if there's gonna be equity involved with this, they have to take into consideration that this land is Gitxsan land. That has to be taken into consideration. And everything that comes off this land can be used as equity. Like all the trees that are fallen. Now, what you could do is have an agreement with the companies who are falling, take the stuff out and it'll bring it out. That's our equity. That's our equity. That's what I mean about, these things. You're gonna have to familiarize yourself with these terms.
Like I said, we'll know more about it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's why it's good that it's a living document.
Yeah, I
Which
really
means
like
it
that
can be
term.
changed.
Yeah.
The legal people will design it in such a way so that we're protected in a greater way. So the point that was raised here is a good point, and how we're gonna approach it is a good point, that it's a living document. Terms of reference are a living document, and lawyers will design it in such a way that it protects us.
Oye, and then George.
Thanks, Catherine. You're put in a very difficult situation. You don't have all the information that's supposed to be given to you. You mentioned 56 million for the total cost of the plant. We took a tour there the other day, while you were there, you were carrying me around. Yeah, but, at the overall value of the plant, how much of that has already been received? Like, you're not gonna be fundraising for $56 million now, no. How much has been received already? That's the value of the mill, but there's a lot of work going on there, maybe they got $12 million already. You guys will be only designated to look at 40-some million.
Yeah, he's
Do you
got,
have the information whether it's received so far?
yeah, he has received about 37, or he's, I don't know if it's
Secured.
received, it's
Secured.
secured, yeah. Secured in like NRCan, the province of BC and Ministry of Environment, no, MEM anyways, maybe mining.
Mining, yeah.
Government Works, Arex, who is the company in Quebec that designed the plant pellets. About 2 million in private, and then he's got, that 5 to 7 that we would contribute to it.
5 to 7 million. Okay. So that's why when we had our AGM, someone was brought out, the name change for our society, from Spring to our Salt. So that would be a good direction. I think we have some here. You're mumbling, we can't hear you. Cool. Yeah, that was, one of our AGMs, we wanted a name change because we're not treaty. We have, our directors, maybe a special resolution to our directors of the change of name. Because you need that name, that we have to use as a society to get these funding. As soon as the funding agency treaty, they're gonna look back. But, it doesn't really matter what the name is, it's society, but it's registered. But, that's a big concern I have. The name change, and you're right, it's a big, long name, and I like your name, and call it, go into Dala, Chiefs, we call it. Okay. But you're right, it is a long way forward for you.
George and then Coimbra.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was sitting here listening to the presentation and some figures came up. I heard 30 up to 60 million, and then I heard we were gonna end up with 51% of ownership. Now, who are they making reference to? Are they talking about Gitxsan or are they talking about themselves? That's my question.
I don't think we have an
We didn't
answer for
say-
that. It's all speculation at this
Yeah.
point. There's nothing concrete. The only number that I'm aware of was the plant could cost up to $53 million. However, if they do it correctly or more efficiently, there's a notion that it could cost around 40 million. But those are again all speculative numbers. Going,
Yeah, about the name change, I think we need to be more serious and not just call it Anderdala. It just doesn't sit right with me. We have to give it some thought and tie it in with the hereditary chiefs and not just the empty purse.
thank you. So we have a living document called our terms of reference. There has been much discussion on it, and if we can get a mover to move to adopt this, Lucas moves. Is there a seconder? Seconded by Oye. Questions on the terms of reference? It is a living document.
Question?
Question's been called. All those in favor? Any against? Abstentions? Passed.
Who seconded that?
Oh, yeah.
Brian,
Yes.
could we ask Kathy to give us another report on this, but give us a more concrete, what percentage we're looking at? Because when we met with Congress there, I think you said a percentage goes into our own gift fund, not 51. I'm quite sure of that, you know. But, just check it out and give us a more clearer understanding of, you know, what's going in. I think you said about 12% or something like that, but nothing to list it yet. I mean,
Thank you.
I got a suggestion. Hit up Bill Gates. They were bragging how rich he is. He's the richest person in that we know of, other than if there was another name mentioned. He would have beat Bill Gates, but he got divorced from his wife of 25 years, and she took a portion of his money, so Bill came out ahead. And they were talking
Okay.
billions.
Trillions, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
Yes.
yeah, I'm not sure why the focus was just on government, but that's what the terms of reference says,
oh no,
Step out of it.
yeah.
get out of it.
The crisis management team update. Robert Campbell, Art Wilson, and Brian Williams. Robert, let's start.
There wasn't that much to report from our last meeting. Other than the federals didn't come. We brought up all the things we wanted to say about jurisdiction, trespassing, issues of license and permit. And we also asked them they're in a better position to tell the public, the whole public, Canada, DC, and overseas, what our decision is to close down Skeena from sport fishing. Because they have all the tools, media, not just TV, but all the other. And it's very disappointing that the feds hasn't shown up. Because we're really serious about this, and they're the ones that can close the river. But also don't really like that system can close the river. If we're the government, we should be able to deal with it ourselves without any interference from them. I can't really remember what, we brought up lots of good stuff when that, person Emily. Was it Emily or somebody?
That came to the meeting?
Yeah.
Troy Larden.
Oh, yeah. No, but there's all. No? No. I must have been dreaming.
It's okay,
Yeah,
Robert.
Other than that, we got all the stuff that we wanted to, with all the jurisdiction and the permits. And that's my question. Why couldn't we close the river ourselves since we're the government? Talked about fishing sites and everything. Some of them are good. And what causes the decline of the fish? All the interference of logging, CN, etc. That's what we brought up to the government then, well, that's the species. Maybe you could fill in the rest.
It's not too much more than what you've articulated.
Yeah.
Other than we wanted to ensure that Troy Larden, the representative from the province, was aware of what we were doing. It was basically bringing them up to speed on the work that the press releases have been put out there, the information sharing, and the thought of the mismanagement of DFO, and articulating that the Gitxsan are taking care of their anat, making sure that we have the resources for our future. We're looking at building a working relationship with BC and Canada. We also have a few discussions on signage. We did propose 6 names for providing a pilot project to put up signs on fishing sites. So we looked at Guyer's fishing site, we looked at Maus fishing site, and we looked at Lutkajiwa's fishing site as a start. And then in the west, we're looking at Schayan's fishing sites, Sagamhirok, and Gwisgen's fishing site as a start to provide signage for where the fishing sites are, and to what are the signs going to be comprised of is the other message that we're having discussions with Roger Rietsema, who is a representative of MER. And so all of this started from the treaty negotiator Tom McCarthy, who initiated the discussion around signage. We've been talking about it, but he further pushed it to have a more concrete discussion. And however, they're saying they got no money to provide the signs. I mean, they want the signs up, but they got no money to provide the signs. So it's something that we need to. Well, I believe Roger is suggesting that they will keep looking for funds for signage. Robert, then Bill.
Yeah,
Then
another
Roy.
thing we brought up to them is consistency with the feds and the BC representative. Instead of changing them every 6 months and whatever.
Yeah.
Like one person, as soon as they change a person, then you have to start all over again. So we ask for consistency. who's representing the feds in the BC there.
Thank you. Bill?
Just as far as the signage goes there, aren't they all numbered already as well?
Yes. We have all that information, but they don't.
Yeah.
But, so we're looking at a way to identify to the recreational fishermen that they can't just pull their boat up and start fishing. Loose.
I don't know if any one of you attend the prediction they used to make. And they used to do it early in January, the return of the salmon. And the prediction they make, you guys have to really lock them in on that and challenge them on their prediction, because last summer, their prediction was way off. That's mismanagement. And we need to challenge them on those predictions when they do. And in order for us people to be able to get our fish. Because they cut it off and some of our fishermen got charged and confiscate their gear. And those gears got to be returned to those people. Because it costs a lot of money. You know, it's $2,000 to $3,000 to get ready just to go food fishing. It's not cheap anymore. And some of the fishermen haven't got their gear back. And we need to get those back with the prediction they made. Gordon.
Thank you. Gordon?
Thank you, Chair. 4 points I'd like to make. The first one is the letter. It's C1. Look at C1. And this is the letter that was sent to Wilkinson, the Minister of Fisheries. I think there's someone else that's a minister now of Fisheries. That's as of yesterday. But we indicated, if you read that letter, you'll see they had Colin Masson, Amy Wakefield, Juanita Rogers, Sandra Davis, Melanie Anthony. These different people were attending meetings with us. And they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do with the Gitxsan jurisdiction because it's not under the Fisheries Act and that sort of stuff. So they're totally reliant on us as the government. And then you go to D1. D1 is a similar letter that was sent to the province. It's signed by Brian and Vernon. And there, it was pointing out Patty Hurstfield, meeting with Doug Donaldson, and now they got a Troy Larden that just started to attend, and he's coming to our next meeting on December 5th or December 10th, I can't remember. 5th, yeah. So he's coming to the next meeting.
Troy Larden.
And third one I'd like to point out is E1. Take a look at E1. That's an interesting one. And that's a letter to the RCMP. And it's stating that you're the government. And you're telling this to the RCMP. This letter went to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in Ottawa and also to BC, the Hazelton Detachment and Terrace. So the police are well aware that you've closed the river down to trespassers. Specifically, any holders of permits and fishing licenses are no longer allowed to trespass on the Anat. And if you look at that letter at E1, it says that the Gitxsan jurisdiction forbid trespassing on their fisheries tenure without permission. And then you go to that third paragraph of the letter, and it talks about in general, the recreational fishermen with permits and guiding license are respecting Gitxsan closures. And then it says the BC Fish and Wildlife Notice, important notice for anglers in the Skeena River watershed, 2019-2020 season. That's next summer. states the anglers must seek permission, and if anglers experience conflict, please avoid confrontation. Public safety is first priority, and if safety concerns exist, please call the RCMP. So we sent this letter to the RCMP in Ottawa, Smithers, and Terrace. And we said that the 2019 has ended with no safety concerns by the trespassers, as they would immediately leave the river when requested. And that all safety concerns will be addressed at the CMT table. Now, last week, we lit from the Gitxsan hereditary chiefs had their fish camp burnt down. And they're not certain if it was the recreational fishermen or hunters in the fall time, or hunters did that, or if it was a Nishka, or if it was somebody right from our own area. So there's a lot of people of interest. And so they're going out to the camp on Saturday to retake that camp. They're gonna do what they have to do traditionally to indicate that they're retaking the camp, and then they're gonna have a feast. They'll be announcing when the feast is gonna be. So what I'm pointing out is that maybe there's another person of interest. If you look at that letter,
I think.
if you look at the letter E1, when the province indicated that if there's safety concerns, call the RCMP. So is that giving these guys confidence that they can burn us down, and then if they have any problems, they'll call the RCMP if we went after them? Like you can read whatever you want in situations like that, but when it looks like they have more of a right than us, will the RCMP defend them? So that's why this letter went out, and it's on behalf of this table here. So we have to be quite aware of what we're doing and what's happening out there, and join all the dots. Join the dots. So we always have to read these things and keep up to date on them and be aware. So I would suggest that that our table consider that we contact our House members, and that we make sure and let these trespassers know that we're watching them. That we see people driving at night around our fishing areas, if we see people early in the morning, we take down their license plates just in case something happens. Because that is our yoke, that we all monitor our own and act ourselves. And that if we see something unusual, we write it down. Take a picture of that car, that truck. Take a picture of anybody that's fishing on the river. Because in Gitxsan territory, this government here has said that they are no longer allowed to trespass. You guys, each one of you have said that for 2 years now. It's not whether or not we are the government. It's not if we are the government. We are the government. So that's the situation we find ourselves in, and I believe that those recreational and sports fishermen are quite respectful. That the river was pretty quiet last summer, but this unfortunate situation where the camp was burned, that is very serious. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon.
Whoever Gitxsan is.
Any further questions or comments on the CMT report? The letter that Gordon is reflecting was is posted on the Fish and Wildlife webpage, where they make reference to if there's any issues to call the RCMP. So we're responding to that. Bill?
In reference to this matter here, I was just wondering whether, if the Gitxsan can also, use that, and call the RCMP when we're, being threatened by so-called private, landowners on our annex Gitxsan. We should start calling it Gitxsan instead of Skeena. That's a white man word. But anyways, I'm just wondering whether we could take that and call the RCMP every time these people threaten us, every time we go on our traditional areas on our hip. Now, give you an example without using names of the people who did it. My father and my late uncle went to go see if the smokehouse was still standing where they went with their mother every year by the 4 Mile area. And they were walking around there by the river, and all of a sudden they heard something. And here there's immigrants from US standing there with rifles, telling them to get off their private land. Oh. So they left.
Wow. Gordon?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to add on the, I also attended with the CMP. Take a look at F1. Our group did media training. So next time when you see our group report to the board, you'll see them walking around and being really exciting. You know, we won't be sitting down with our chin on the table. We're gonna be exciting. Make it wonderful.
Just listen.
So who took the media training for 2 days? It cost us $5,000 a day. So it cost us about $12,000 for that training. And who took it was the crisis management team, because they had a press conference in Terrace. So they had some experience, and then from there, they began to learn how to deal with the media. So you see on F1, it's group dynamics and learning. We began a 2-day education session on presentation skills and media training. And then the 2-day program was extended to include a 3rd module, where each participant was interviewed by a media person. It was funny. We did television interviews and things like that. I could see Bob was making sure his eyebrows were really nice before he went on TV. So it was quite a thing. Clearly, storytelling is culturally and socially inherent for the Gitxsan chiefs. Like, our people can really tell a lot of stories. And then what we learned for media is that you don't have time. You got 15 seconds, you got 30 seconds to make your point. So if you're telling a story, it may not get on to the news. So there was a lot of focus regarding that. So we learned to understand our audience, we learned to navigate, and we learned to command the room, like make ourselves exciting, eh? Move around, smile, get the attention, prepare and practice, like what we did. Kathy did really well in her report tonight. Kathy's only job is to prepare her report about fundraising. Her job is not really to explain what all this company process is all about. Her job is here to say, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the money, and that sort of stuff. And she did point out 2 or 3 areas, which was good. And then you read into this thing, you'll see media skills, media management, and then you'll see each one, there's a report on each one on your, if you want to see a report on Robert, how he did what it says here, It says, Robert, ensure you have a microphone when you're presenting. You are inherently quiet in your vocal volume. It told him, use humor carefully. It's all those things there's said about Robert there. That's on F4. You'll see it on F4. And then media skills. He was told he had a surmountable learning curve which he tackled head on. So, you know, and you'll see Robin, you'll see the other people. Brian here, he said, Brian, you did a great job learning the presentation training and adding it to a skill set which you have already built. Using presentation space as a stage, upping the volume of your voice. So it was very interesting. I won't say what they said about Norman on there. Maybe he'll want to read it himself. He was pretty happy with his training. So that's it. It was a very interesting media training, and thank you.
Thank you, Gordon.
I couldn't comb my hair, Kathy.
No jazz hands.
Thank you, Bill, for your issue you provided, and certainly something that needs to be considered, because that's one of the barriers that were identified as fee simple lands that are taking away our anat, or we're losing our anat to fee simple lands, railroad, highways, and a number of other issues that come up.
Private owners,
Fee simple lands.
would it
That's
include
awful that they
the
have a
farmers up at the valley?
Yeah.
Then we should meet with them. What's that lady's name? The fish.
Oh, Shannon.
Yes,
Shannon
we
McPhail.
should meet with Shannon and sit at this table so we can tell her. I'm wondering, Brian,
Yes.
if we close the Skeena just on the top of our territory, right down to the end of it, would that be legal?
That's
Doesn't matter who's in between.
that's what we're doing. We're closing it to recreational fishermen. No recreational fishermen within our Gitxsan Lakip. Robert?
Yeah, Sadie, we already discussed that. It's not just the amount, it's the whole scheme
Yeah.
within our jurisdiction. There's no gap. It doesn't have to be unhopped. If there's space in between, they can't fish. Recreation.
Thank you. So we'll move on to the. Do you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
I
George?
understand the importance of all this, and I like what I hear, but there is still this question in our mind. We know that there are camps all the way up on this, along the Skeena River. How are they receiving this? Are they adhering, or are they even going to listen to us, that they can keep on accepting people from overseas to occupy their camps? Those guys that like to play with fish.
Certainly be on the radar for sure for the CMT. Jurisdiction Standing Committee update provided by Bill Blackwater Jr. and Larry Skulsh.
Like on TV.
You need
Unbutton your shirt.
Okay, since we were appointed back in September, we've held two meetings. And the first two meetings were to go over the terms of reference and to also go over the reconciliation of rights policy of the treaty negotiations in BC. That was endorsed September 4th by BC Canada and the First Nations Summit. And this was facilitated by Norman. This, we were going over the reconciliation of our rights policies. And then we've been quite busy brainstorming how we could approach Government BC in Canada and try to explain to them what Gitxsan jurisdiction really means to Gitxsan in a way that they would understand it. So there was a First Nations leaders and BC ministers forum in Vancouver back in when was it? Beginning of November 4th, I believe. And at our last meeting, we decided to draft a letter, which you can see in the back of your packet, sir.
G1? G1?
G1.
Last page.
Which I presented to Minister of Finance Carol James. And I was only there as a substitute. The person that was supposed to be there doing the 1 month with the ministers was unable to make it, so I stepped in the last minute to do this presentation to the 4 ministers. I actually met 4 ministers at the 3 ministers and 1 deputy minister. But I presented this letter to Carol James, and they seemed quite intrigued when I first explained it, and then after first I explained what it was all about, and then I read the letter, and then I gave it to her, and I handed it to her. And pretty sure I heard a couple of people hit 4, I wouldn't believe it, I'm just kidding. And but I have not heard, or the office, I have not heard back from the office of the Minister of Finance for a request for November 13th. We never heard back from that. And we never heard about a request to attend the November 27th date when the Bill 41 will be adopted in legislation. We're asking the standing committee jurisdiction to be invited for the location, just so we let them know that that we support this bill as is. So but I guess all not that lost, because just a couple days ago I was informed by Forestry Minister's office, Forestry Minister's office, Doug Nelson, that he will be coming here on December 13th to meet with the Kisconsin watershed chiefs and to jurisdiction committee has a meeting on December 2nd. I'm going to be presenting to them that we should draft something up to present to the Minister of Forestry Minister, Dr. Olson, at that time. And we only have 1 hour with the Minister on the 13th. The office made sure that when they got a hold of me, they called me and they said, you only have a 2 agenda item and we're only there for 1 hour. And can you make sure that everybody sticks to the agenda? If you have anything extra, please have it in writing and present to the minister, and we'll accept it right there.
Can you repeat that December 13th? Bill, please? What's happening on the 13th?
Repeat what's going on the 13th?
On the 13th, the Kiskayuk watershed is going to be meeting with Forest Minister Doug Donaldson.
Just with the Kispioks?
Yeah. We invited them, we invited the Premier, but they're sending the Forest Minister back in June.
Okay.
We invited the Premier to give us the update on how the mandate was going. Actually, we went through the mandate letter that the Premier had sent to the Forest Minister and all the other ministers. But we had a letter back from the Forest Minister saying that he's going to be attending instead.
Excuse me.
Can I ask a question,
But
Bill?
that's a different matter, so.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about Doug Donaldson because we're at our watershed meetings and we wanted him to come and meet with us on the watershed tables.
Same here.
So I'm wondering if we can be also at that meeting on the 13th with the Kispioks.
I have a planning session coming with Kiskayuk watershed chiefs on coming Monday, 27th. I could discuss with them at the time, but I can't see them saying no, but I can say that. I can't speak for them.
Yeah,
I'll put
we know.
it to the table on Monday.
Can you let us know?
Yep.
Thanks.
So, like I said, all's not lost. I'm planning on presenting to the jurisdiction committee that we draft something up to present to the minister of forest. And that's all I have for now. Anything else?
Okay. Any additional comments, Larry? Any additional comments? No? So good questions, Oye?
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, it's very important. I have the same concern as one, so we want to meet with Doug Donaldson at our watershed too, and we can find. But instead of doing that, I was lucky to meet with the Chief Forestry Office, and they're coming up to meet with us personally. Another one is we have to be really sure that we meet. We got to get a critic from the other party. Who's the critic for the forestry?
Debbie and
Liberals,
Witzke.
They're the ones that can help you. They can push it through the parliament. They're questioning why are you doing this? What Gitxsan? That's their job. I don't know who the critic is, Brian, for forestry. The liberal side. It's got to be a big plus. What's his name? Terrace. He's in LA. Kiddermatch, yeah. I don't even mention his name.
Can't remember his name either.
Thank you, Clifford. Any other questions?
And it's Rush.
Oh, yeah. Ellis
Yeah, Bill.
Ross.
Do you have your hand up, Les?
Nay, you can exercise.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting it done.
Crap.
Do it.
Don't laugh, it hurts.
Number 6, other ethics committee discussion. Gordon.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Really quick, it's, we're working on a process for leadership, what it amounts to leadership, and, what the SMOGIT does in terms of leadership and ethics. What the responsibility of the chief is, the responsibility, we all know the feasting, what happens there, and the amount of funds that the chiefs put in and are quite responsible for running all the feasting. And the ethics I'm talking about is that I believe that we're gonna have to start supporting one another at this table. And I support Oye, and I got his back, and I got William Laha's back. When we go to feasts, that we refrain from putting our colleagues down. When we're talking outside the post office, when we're talking generally. And what I'm getting at is that when we develop this curriculum for leadership, that our young people will be aware of the responsibilities that our chiefs involved with. Like this no trespassing on an act. The chief, that's a chief taking responsibility for the IOC that says you want to go on someone else's act, you gotta have permission. It's as simple as that. And then the ethics, I refer you guys to this document here. It's an indication of our society today. Each of us that we live, yeah, it's this one here, it's a one-pager. And it talked about the Gitxsan Treaty Society annual AGM. And it refers to facts, and it's starting gossip. It's not a factual statement at all. And it's basically just gossip. It says here that no financial audit reported by the directors. The whole purpose of the meeting was the financial audit was presented to the members and passed. But we're not responsible for GWA. That's what it says on there. We're not responsible for GDC or GLS or Endem Trust. And then it says above that, all their investments are failures. Well, Treaty Society doesn't invest any money. They don't have any money to invest. And then it says, financial audit report of deficit 26 million and increasing every year. That deficit is a deficit that started back in 1994. And there are many people that were involved with that deficit. And it's only in the past year that the Treaty Society has negotiated with a number of other folks in BC the forgiveness of that deficit, of that loan. So it was reported at the last AGM that loan was forgiven. So what I'm getting at here, it's in black and white how we treat each other. We say things about another chief without hesitation, with full pretense that it's true. And then not to sign your name at the bottom, it says concerned Gitxsan. We all know who it is. Everybody in our group know who it is. So just put your name down there. stand up for yourself. So what I'm getting at is that I'm not sure we should codify ethics and codify the responsibilities of being a leader as a Samogan. Because I believe some of us do need mentors, we do have mentors. And, some of us would gladly like to look at the book sometime to see what it is we should do. So hopefully I'll get on to something written in terms of the Samogan. So at the next meeting, I'll be seeking some information from you where you will have to write it down if you take the opportunity to, and see what we can do in terms of the leadership process. Because a lot of us here on this table know a lot about being a Samogan. And a person like myself, I don't know. I don't really know that much. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Comments, we have Robert.
Gitxsan. I've used my other language so Gordon didn't understand it. Well, ethics is common knowledge to the people. It depends on the parents to teach their children what's right and wrong. That's ethics. But in the world we live in now, it moves too fast. Everything's instant. Like myself, I was grouped, I've done it on my own. I asked questions for the Gitxsan who's knowledgeable. I learned through feast. I keep hearing that Woodville is our parliament. Sometimes that's the worst place where you hear that. The worst place. Like I keep repeating, in the old days, people don't keep quiet about it. They stand up and ask why they're doing this. I often ask my late uncle, Alvin Regan, why are they doing this? Never mind, it's their own table. That's not good enough. People see other people doing it, pretty sure it's a boomerang thing. If they can do it, I can do it. You got to be able to stand up and correct, if you can, or at least bring it up to the people in the feast hall. You're never going to ever get rid of talking outside. I should hear our old people say that the walls have ears. I wouldn't doubt they would be hearing about what we're saying tonight, tomorrow. The walls have ears. That's where ethics is. You got to teach your children leadership. As a leader, you have to be able to stand there and listen. Lots of times I had to bite my tongue. We'd look down on, talk down. That's what we're told to do. Doesn't always work. You can only turn your cheek so many times and then you have to respond. Otherwise, they're going to keep doing it. It's just like the protesters a couple of years back. Broken windows, nobody talks to them. And I asked. They said they couldn't charge the children. Why not? They're too young. One way to solve it is to make their parents put up the same feast that will stop it pretty quick. The same with the vandalism outside. They're too young to charge, so they get away with everything. because nobody talks. It's a cruel world. A chief does not stand alone, you need your house. So you should be able to listen to what your house says to you. Without your house, you're just another name. Simple as that. And if you want respect, you have to show respect. That's ethics. It's not a one-way street. That's why I keep saying to let's get them get. If you want to work with us, you got to learn our ayok. Not just one way, the European way, and forget about ours. That's why I keep emphasizing we do not recognize Crown land and 33,000 square kilometers in the Gitxsan territory. See, even I'm sure the government's got to be taught. We painted in one brush from years back and it's still happening. Bias doesn't stop. Prejudice. It's just more hidden. I'm not a little about what's after. I have to bring it up.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Court. I was wondering when you're gonna bring this out, ethics. All of us are hit with it, even myself, daily. I'm getting rich in here, that's what I hear every time I go home. Go to Barbados. Well, when I was growing up, my elders, my parents, told me to get an education. Help us what's happening here in our language. Help us be involved. La escuché pero amsiwa alwildi. Shil mamsilwildi lash. They didn't say go protest. A good example is I wasn't in support of pipeline, but I didn't protest. I went and learned more about it. Learn what it's all about. We lost a good man, Elmer. He seen a vision, and we all threw him out. Just an example. The oil's still going through, trucks, trains, still going through, but we missed out on the boat. Our ethics weren't good. We lost out on $500 million year one. That's what bad we could have got here, but I don't know. It's really hard to change our mod. But I'm quite sure all the elders in my parents' days, because I heard this guy saying it too to their daughters when I was still in school, get education, help our people. Another one is I just went to this nice, beautiful tour. Our family Southtown. I was scared to go because I didn't want people pointing fingers at me, but I said, that's not gonna help me out staying home. I learned a lot on that tour. I learned how, how it's gonna help our nation. I learned that, the structure of it, the building, what's all gonna be in that building. I know that now. So does Catherine. And I commend you on what you're trying to do, fundraise, Catherine. You know. But there's a lot of positive issues. I don't like CDC, but I learned I can use them. I have people coming in our territory, and they're there to help, no questions asked. And what you have to offer is just unreal. It's just unreal. It opened my eyes. You know, this is what we have to do, is we have to
see what they got. We can't just set them out right off the bat. I keep telling the young people in my house group, there's only one trail in my village and it goes right to the band office on welfare day. I'm getting tired of that. I tell my young people that, and now they're not doing it. They're working. And I wish pursue this further, Gordy, and I'm glad it's finally happening. Something written. Tommy, and don't worry, I'll protect you, Kat.
Got your back.
Thank you, Oye. George?
Let me ask some of it. Mr. Chairman, Schmidt, Mr. Mena. I was glad this came up. It's been too many times and too many years. I just got dragged through the mud here. I was blamed for losing how much money? Talk about billions of dollars. 26 million increasing every year. I haven't seen this. Is there anything that we can do legally to fight this? That is my question to the table, ladies and gentlemen. No, these are all lies, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Land claim.
Les?
Yes, Indian, yes, and I. Gigat, see them on up.
I was going to use my language, it would be more meaningful to me. This issue on the table is very, very important. We're talking about the future of our lives. Look at how many of us have failed our children in many ways. Young people are taking their own lives. We just had another one in our family today.
Yep.
And it's really hard on me to grasp this. A young man by the name of Shane Johnson took his own life. And we talk about ethics. This is where we can utilize our system in a more of a well-mannered way. I see this young man when there's feast. He's in there all the time. That's why I had to stand up today. You know, we are in our last century, our last 10 to 20 years, things haven't been the same in our house and in many houses that pertain to our Gitxsan people because of no unity. We're not working together, as Gordon said. And it's pretty scary when we have these young people doing that. We just buried this young man's brother a few months ago. I'm geschoten Willem. Ik niet iets voor Gitxsan ik voor Guam ik voor de pun. Gitxsan scherpen dit daar gepakt dit geblieben. Net die amsust. Neem de Gitxsan naast we om. Daar ga ik in kaas gaan niet snoem. Ik ga naar Rodem, als ze redden. Ik was wat ook straal geschet. Ik niet hem goed aardig zit. En lept in goud. Dem lept tak. Na jeest ze moet. Het. Why? Ach, het Rodi. Daar gaan we zijn gerten. Niet Willem. Wat doet Willem? Ze aanbiek. Waarbij dit zaap aten. Dit wist hem ja het goed. Zaap waarbij het is goed. De stiksel daar nodig met zee staat. Achten tot ze me lokt dit. Ik kan niet some gauw let goed. Zij hem maar les goden. Ik krijg die golai. Dat skim rach wil blili de mesaat hem godem. Neem die de Gitxsan niet na. Ja, kwijt. Dan ga ik hebben die noem godit. En met hoe laag dit, dan moet dit. Zo moet lelijk. Ik niet opak op haar kwijt toen de touwen is. Dan moet dit. Ik zoek de moment. This is what I mean. Ethics. We have to live that life with integrity. We can't lie through our teeth and say we did this and did that while our loved ones are floating around without a home. We need to care for our house members. I want to thank you for listening to me. I just had to get up and share my voice about this. We need to think about it. Think about the Ubahagway and Galch. Ach, wil dit. En ja, nee, nou niet gewoon maar.
Dus
So we get see the line up. Good worship. Kijk, de deeltje. Dit is het zegt.
je geweest en zing het geweest. Het is eigenlijk hoog. Je gaat uit als Ajax die red goed gaat niet. Nu die one-plug table toen. En dan zie je die eerder red hem aan de laatst. Je zou het kunnen, wat die toch weet, wil nog gennig iets heigen. Je gaat eigenlijk niet. In een adres is nog table toen. En die man liggen wachten naar ze, zo weet ik. Adres die. In jaren, moet ze hem zeggen, nu hoorend. Als dat is probeer. Dus ik ben nu. Hoe het blijft het? Niet hier. We dit een parlement dat het kan. Dat daar de laatste lukt. En daar de laatste stiet. Dat is hoe krijgt daar de middel van zus. Net is het hoofd aan de pot. Net aan de pot, net is het hoofd aan de neer. Net is het hoofd zus. Je daar ook staat, net die hoog moet blijven die. En net is het bezorgd. Only about 3-4 times a month. Aardig, net die hoog moet blijven die. Net die dast. En dan nog om het inderdaad. Het is maar lees, het is maar wild. Het was maar net iets op die dast. Ik zou daar eigenlijk wil doen in alle point out is Gordon. Als ze zei is de bus. Lucht, nee, ze heeft ook even. Questioned it. Oh, de eigenlijk niet, de table nee. En deze gaat niet liggen, en deze gaat niet schrijven. Zin niet. Eigenlijk zijn we get. Eigenlijk zijn ook het. Geschiedend. Gaat licht. Luwilpt. We gaan de head het leuk eigenlijk. Zijn ook het. We gaan de kindig dit niet. Nee, ik zit nog achter het saai. En kindig dit niet. En dan pakte me nog helemaal. Keek je net in stand goed. Maar toen dat goed was, het kan net al je eyes is leuk. Dit is een goede. How is it? Het is heel goed zo. Deze maar lijkt dat. How is it? Het is goed. Wat dat houdt. We maar stil is het maar lijkt waar je deel moet. Ja. Je net houdt hem deel. Het heeft of de wat Buscan Stanley Williams. Het heeft dan neem je lijkt houdt hem deel moet. Ja. Maar het zijn er liggen na het en te lijkt. Je bent niet te mijn deel moet. Ja. Ze maar laagst het laagst gaat. Heel smokt het. We nemen je goed ijs aan je gelun. Maar het gaat al afstaan eigenlijk. correct. Ako sa uso. Masaya mo isa sa lusroks to hoy. Lusroks goed. Ik la just zelf nog kabel in. Als gelijk het dit. Laat er straks alleen. Ik zei ze ijs, ik was ijs, sneeuw. Kijk je. Then you can read it like a book Gitxsan ja, dit nee, dit is heftig. Dat cool dat het seks. Like the road daar hoog op 20, 30, 40 years te worden. Het was heftig. Ik zat toen hier en ik ook zijn ijs. Wanneer de hoogend eigenlijk dus Gitxsan blikken te acht. In het eerste systeem waar je van is moet algemeen aan mij aan.
Comments?
Next meeting.
If there are none, we'll move on to number 6B. And before I do that, I want to, I forgot to mention that Art Wilson is also on the crisis management team and wasn't available to attend the meeting. So that's, I just want to make sure that you know that Wimukos is part of the crisis management team. We have B, other. We need a motion to accept 2 new members on the Gitxsan governance. We have Wirach, Dorothy Latai, and then Norman Moore, Nola. So we can do one at a time. Moved by Wimukos to accept Dorothy Latai on as the Gitxsan governance table. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Luce. Any discussion? All those in favor? Against? Abstentions? Motion passed. Norman Moore as Nola, as expressed to be a part of the Gigeenix team. Robert?
Is Norman already on the gate?
As Morgan?
Can he sit on both tables?
Yeah, that's my question too. I think a lot of people on this table sit on many tables. And
I mean on this.
yeah, I've got jurisdiction here. As Nola, Gigeenix. Not just more.
Any discussion?
I'm just looking for comments here.
Yes. Moss?
Okay, I would like to ask Norman to hold his request at the next meeting until after I speak with him, and Lester, and the rest of the family. Because of the name that he's using. So I'd like to respect your request that you decide to set the next meeting.
Yeah. I'd like to have that meeting, as soon as possible. We did have this meeting already with your mom and then Vera.
I think
Vera involved, and at that time it was settled.
So
It was settled already.
the request has been accepted to delay this until the next meeting. So we'll leave it at that at this point. Next meeting.
Just a number 6 or just a C?
No, next meeting, number 7.
table,
So Norman Moore is
Turkey
table.
dinner?
to be tabled until,
Fever lips too?
No.
next meeting,
Yep, table till next meeting.
Baloney, hey, Gord?
to allow Moses' family
Yep.
to meet with him.
The last day this office open was the 20th.
Oh.
Gordon?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I suggest the 9th, 10th, or 11th. The Gets are having theirs on the 12th. And they're having it in the first 2 weeks of December because, that's their meeting, their governance meeting, not special. And because the, kids have, concerts and stuff like that. So the Gets have the 12th, so you're open for 9th, 10th, and 11th.
John?
We have a meeting on the 10th for Upper Nass, and there's a possibility of trustees meeting by Deloitte on 11th.
9th there. I see it's empty.
Yeah, 9th is open and the 12th for me. But that Deloitte is, we can't bypass that Deloitte, whoever sits on that trust. We have to be there in attendance at that meeting.
It's a conference call.
Well, he
Yeah,
he
no.
hasn't let us know yet.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a conference call.
Yeah.
2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be before 4.
So the,
Oh, yeah, that's okay, as long as it's before 4, we have 11th open then.
okay.
11th,
9th,
I canceled my doctor today.
doesn't matter which one.
So the
11th,
11th?
4.
Any problems with the 11th? Are there no other
Done.
concerns? December 11th is the next meeting, 4 o'clock here.
Gigeenix.
Gigeenix, 4 p.m. Thank you, Jim. I'm calling yes, we got some law.
So we're done with the agenda. I want to thank the Simgiget for their indulgence on the business at hand. Very well done. And our next meeting is December 11th. And I'll ask Claim Lahat to close our meeting.
Okay, let us pray again. Lord, we come to you just now, and we thank you for being amongst us. We thank you for giving us guidance for Gitxsan governance. And we thank you for all the blessings you've bestowed upon each one of us represented here. And once again, I'm mindful of our elders that are in the hospital and that can't get out. I'm mindful of those that have lost loved ones recently, and I ask that you be with them and sustain them in their endeavors in dealing with death in itself. I pray for all the 7 villages that death will come to a standstill and that we can move forward throughout this upcoming season. This I ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.